welcome. I'm Sukanya Watve, your host for today, and we have with us a rising Goan athlete who is making waves quite literally. Joining us is Urvi Shirodkar, who has bagged gold at the Youth Division Sail Goa 2026 Windsurfing Championship. Not only that, she has also bagged various medals at YAI Windsurfing and Kiteboarding Championship 2026 and also the Open Navy Windsurfing Championships. So let's dive into her passions, what are her hobbies, and what it takes to achieve excellence at such a young age.
Hi.
Hi Urvi. Before we dive into your key highlights of these championships and winning gold back to back, let's understand more about what got you started and what shaped your interest in so many sports. So tell us, what was your childhood like and what were the key moments?
Okay, so my parents got me into sports, and I remember at the young age of 4, my mother was trying to convince the skating instructor to take me, and I was just 4. So he was like, she's too small. But she managed to convince him, and once I got on the board, I proved everybody wrong, and I was really good at it. They even put me on the newspaper for some campaign which they had, which was really cool. After that, I pursued gymnastics, which really was the foundation to my sports journey. It gave me the flexibility and the body flexibility I needed for sports. After that, I pursued athletics and basketball, which were also fundamental sports in building speed and agility, basically. So I've always been an athlete throughout my life, and that has shaped quite a bit of my personality. And once I started competing, I was obsessed with it. Like, once I found out that there are levels to competition, I was like, oh my god, this is my dream.
Yes, and you are interested in so many varied sports: windsurfing, horse riding, athletics, or basketball. How does having such a varied approach to your sports help in, being in championships, participating in championships? Does it contribute to your method of playing sports?
Yeah, definitely, because windsurfing, I've just been doing it for a year, and I've picked up quite a bit on it because I've been doing sports all my life. So my body is built for sports at this point. So if I'm trying any new sport, I'll pick it up really well because I'm already athletic. I have speed, I have balance, I have all the key components of being a good athlete. So picking up a new sport is not difficult for me, but obviously a good sport, and to compete at a higher level, you need to have the dedication and the consistency. So when I know that I like something, I can do it. And I was exploring all my way with different sports, and today now I know that I'm sure I love the sport, and now I can pursue it with a full dedication.
That's really interesting. Many sportsmen believe that we need to have a dedicated approach to only one sport, but you have excelled at many. So what is your take on that?
I strongly disagree that you should have a unified approach at sports, because you shouldn't limit yourself to one thing. People say that you should sacrifice everything for one sport, but I don't believe that. I think you should explore every option you have to find your thing, instead of just obsessing over one thing which you don't even enjoy, and maybe you're just doing it to win. I think you should explore to learn and to enjoy, and you should be happy doing it. That's more important. I feel that you should not make sports your identity. You should have an identity of yourself, because sports doesn't last forever, especially in competing like when you're competing. And that's why when you leave sports, you shouldn't feel like you're not yourself anymore. So that's why I feel you should have a diverse, various personalities which you can be yourself without having to attach your identity to the sport.
I guess this perspective itself is what it takes to be consistent across various sports. You don't attach your identity to a particular sport, but you make it just different mediums to express yourself, to express the sports person in you. So that's really commendable. Many times when you are engaged in so many different sports, academics take a back seat, but that's not the same case with you. You are also excelling at creative writing and other academic pursuits. So tell us more about that.
So I think I never saw it that I need to sacrifice studies for sports. I always thought that there's a good balance I need, and I always maintained that. It was not that I put studies on a backseat ever. I think sports is great, but you need to have academics on your side, because academics is really important. And in life, you need to be educated, and you need to be aware, because studying is not just about the grades, it's about shaping yourself and knowing more, gaining knowledge.
Yes. And what are your hobbies except sports?
I think I'm quite a bit into cooking. I really enjoy it, and I think everybody loves the delicious meals I make. I even entered a cooking competitions once or twice, and I placed the first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really great. Um, I guess winning is something that comes natural to you. Do you feel that winning is the most important part of participating, or you just like to be in the journey?
So I think earlier I was fueled by winning, and that became like I associated myself to winning, and I put too much pressure on myself. But when I finally understood that it's not about winning, it's about learning, which I realized through the sport of windsurfing, and that changed my life, because when I stopped trying to win, I stopped trying to prove something to myself, and that's when I was finally satisfied. So I was not in a endless pursuit of happiness, because I was not finding for something. I was just looking to learn and enjoy and love my life.
Has this perspective been shaped through facing burnout? Is like burnout
Yeah,
something?
definitely, because in the previous sports, at a young age, you are not aware how to handle with the pressure, how to handle with your internal thoughts. So basically, in athletics and basketball, I felt like somebody else was asking me to win, and they had expectations from me. Once I let that go, I realized that it's not about other people's expectations and my expectations. It's about enjoying what I do. So that shaped me a lot, especially in this sport. It's a very rough sport. It's in the water. It's not in your hands. It depends on the wind. It depends on the waves. It depends on the water, about the tide. So nothing is in your hands completely. You have to just have faith in God, I guess, and the nature, and just hope everything goes well. And that was quite humbling. Like, that really taught me that nothing is in your control and you should just let go. But that really shaped me, and changing my opinion about not winning, but learning and enjoying.
So what I understand is that the way you look at sports has also influenced a lot of your personality and your views. So how does it feel like to be in the moment when you're windsurfing? Like, you've already talked about like how you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So the thrill of it, take us through that.
Okay, so it's in the beginning it's really hard, because you keep falling off the board, your sail keeps falling because it's quite heavy, it's hard to balance yourself, the waves are really big suddenly, and then you are struggling to balance. I remember when I was catching onto the sail really tight, and my hands had all boils over them, because it was such a scary moment. But over time I started to love it, because I started to relax, I started to enjoy, and then once I stopped listening to my internal thoughts and the heartbeat, I realized the beautiful sea around me, the endless sky, the endless sea, and the best part was the dolphins, which was just right next to me. I loved that moment. Like, that kept me going. Like, oh my God, the dolphin was just 1 meter away from me. I loved it. And the scenery, it gets alone out there, because you're the only one in a wide, big sea. But over time, you get to internalize your thoughts, and that's just an amazing feeling for someone who's always around the hustle bustle, and who's always in attention spotlight, especially in sports. It's somewhere nice, it's somewhere quiet, it's somewhere where you can be with yourself and really enjoy the sport.
Your creative talent is really showing in the way you're describing how it feels to be in the moment. I feel like I'm living vicariously through you.
I remember in the monsoons, I was really missing out the sport, because you can't go out in the water in the monsoons. And I remember the feeling of just catching on the wind and just going with the full speed, blasting through the water. It was just that feeling which I craved, and that's when I knew I really loved this and I really miss doing it.
The passion is really seeping through. Tell me more about, you have won, I think, 2 gold medals and 1 silver back to back this year. So tell us more about that key highlights of your championships. That's what we are really waiting for.
Okay. So the first competition was my first ever national medal, And this was a dream I was waiting since a 5-year-old child. Like when I found out as a 5-year-old child that there's a levels like state level, national level, international level, I was like, I want a national gold medal. Every year I remember praying to God, God please this year I want a national medal, please. And last year I was just like, God, do whatever you want, do what's best for me. I think I always just dream to it. Like I have every bucket list of every year, national gold medal, national gold medal, and it was just such a dream come true to get that medal. I remember being so emotional and so happy about finally achieving my dream. But when I reached the stage, I realized it's not about winning again. I really went with the approach that I'm just going to show up because it's a quite difficult sport and showing up also was quite difficult for me in some situations. So I'll just show up and just learn and absorb as much as I can. And I think that approach really led me to winning, and that was a learning lesson throughout my life because always I was like, I need to win, I need to win. But when I let go of that thought, I think that's when I really won and matured and became a better person.
I have heard that many sports people have some inspiration. So, do you believe that what drives you is some inspirational icon, or do you really believe in manifestation? Since you have talked about like having faith in God and praying to God, so what is your approach on that?
So, as an ideal, I think I don't associate only one person, but an important person in our state would be Katya Kolio and Dane Kolio. They have been inspirational windsurfers from our state, and they have also been my mentors. I watch them, they guide me, and they really show me that it's possible because they are amazing people and they are so helpful, they're so kind, and training with them is always amazing. And I want to be like them one day and compete internationally too. On the other hand, God and manifestation, I think this sport is quite rough and it's not in your hands. And that's where God comes in play because having faith is the ultimate thing. You need to have faith in such a sport because I remember I made this thing up, but I have a nickname for God and I have a nickname for the wind and I have a nickname for the water. And then I just keep talking to myself and talking to them in the water to keep myself sane. And because the water gets quite rough, and I'm like, please help me, be kind to me today. And also the Hanuman Chalisa, I've grown upon it now. So before every competition, I listen to that just to keep me grounded. And as such, it also calms me down, and it gives me the strength I didn't know I had. So that helps a lot. And manifestation, everything I manifest works out. So I strongly believe in manifestation.
I love how you spoke about how you have named God, the wind. I believe that when we enter into a competition, all we see is a wave of competitors. But what you see is your own best friends, God, the surfing board, or the sea. So that's really interesting. Tell me about how, is there any key idea or a key advice that your mentors have given you and it has really stayed with you?
I think I've been shaped with coaches all my life. Like I have coaches since the age of 5, and different coaches have taught me different things. But the one thing I'd like to highlight is lots of coaches try to fixate on the idea of winning. But my current coach, Donald sir, he taught me that you need to love the sport, and that was really different. That's when I really fell in love. And I feel that you need to love what you do to be really good at it, because when the pressure kicks in, you won't be able to sustain if you don't love it. You need to really love it, and loving a sport is very important because you sacrifice so much of your time, your energy, and you go through so much to achieve what you achieve in sports. So loving it is crucial. Just not doing it because other people want you to do it is something I don't really idealize.
You have quite the dynamic personality, and there are very unique traits that you bring to the sport that you're playing. You are a Goan athlete that has started at a very young age and is very persistent with your approach to so many different sports. And also, you are a young woman who is entering into this field. So, tell us more about the unique hardships that you face as a Goan young woman athlete.
Okay, so this is a quite personal one, but I think it's important to bring light on this. uh, as a woman, you go through your periods and your menstrual cycle. So every day you don't wake up the same. You have different moods. You have different. Your body feels different. You have different energy levels, and it's very important to take that into consideration, especially with a sport where you're in the water and you're alone outside in the water. During my last competition, the Navy Open competition, I was on my period, and it was quite a tough time because I was getting intense cramps and I was feeling dehydrated and sick. But I showed up and I was rewarded for that. Uh, but it is very important that you take that into consideration and uh, stop focusing on your body. You need to, and you can't just take pills to hide the pain. You need to embrace the pain. You need to embrace your womanhood and stand strong still. But you cannot ignore it.
I'm really glad that you have shed some light on that, because as audience we always wonder that we always look at sports persons as some kind of a superhuman who just stands the test of all the challenges, stands the test of time. So I'm really glad that you spoke about this and how it feels to be a woman and have also your body kind of I won't say working against you, but how it contributes to your
I
sports.
think if you foster it in the right direction, it is a strength rather than a weakness. So you need to just find that mentality where you're looking at yourself as an important person too, and considering your body instead of just looking at the external pressures and everything else.
That's quite thoughtful. So I want to know more about what happens backstage. What is the support that you receive from your parents, from your mentors, from anything else that you would like to mention?
I'm beyond grateful for the people I have in my life. My parents are these amazing, selfless people who have poured in all their effort, a time, and they are financially invested in me, not only money, but their time, which has been amazing. They have been a constant backbone to this journey, and they never let me feel like I'm asking for too much. Also, I'm beyond grateful for my grandparents and everybody in my family who just keeps me in their blessings. They constantly pray. Like my grandmother calls me up before every competition and she wishes me all the best. She tells me that she's praying, nothing's going to happen. And all my friends also who just are really supportive. They help me with the schoolwork and balancing stuff out. Not only family and friends, I'm also grateful for the people who are in the water with me, like the association, especially a shout out to Tinnu, who is one guy who helps me in the water, set up all the equipment because it's quite tricky equipment, and giving water, because in the sea, even though there's so much water, the most important and scarce thing is fresh water. So just having that water, something to eat in a long session is so important. And even though I'm out there alone windsurfing, there's a whole team supporting me. Even though it looks like an individual sport, it is a team sport with so many people right behind me to help me with the equipment, to guide me with the rules, to guide me with the procedure about the competition. It was quite new, and the whole team as such, my mother, my father, my coach, my assistant coach, they really helped me out. They were really there for me, which really meant a lot.
I'm really glad that an aspirational person like you is blessed with this amount of support. Tell me, how does it feel like to represent your state, Goa, at national level, at international level? What does it mean to you, especially in a sports like windsurfing?
I hope soon to be international. But representing my state makes me really proud. Like, it's just a dream that I'm living. I can't be more happy to represent the people of Goa, and I can't wait for more people to join in the team Goa, because out there are so many athletes, but they are not Goans. There are so many athletes from all over India. Goans really have the potential, but no one's really competing. So I can't wait to have more athletes from Goa join this journey where we compete outside and actually have a chance to win. In other sports, I also saw that Goans were like, no, we're just Goans. We underestimate ourselves and we think that we won't win. We'll just go for the fun of it. Or like, some of them just go. But you need to change that approach. We need to not underestimate ourselves. We need to be self-confident. We need to set those goals because we are no less. We are better, in fact, and we just need to put the efforts in the right direction.
One would assume that being right next to the sea, we would be more enthusiastic about these sports, these water sports. What do you think is stopping young Goans from getting into this sport?
But to be frank, even I was introduced to the sport just 2 years ago, and I found the sport through my dad, who is a sailor. He was in the merchant navy, so it was because of his interest that I got into it, and he was a member at the GYA, Goa Youth Association Club, where I also train. So it was him that got me into the sport, but everybody else are not aware of such a niche sport it is, because the facilities are rare, expensive, and hard to find. The equipment we have is outdated, and no one's really practicing out there. So unless people get the visibility of the sport, I don't think they are going to be aware about it. And I think this is a great way of making people aware, spreading awareness, and people finding this new sport. But I think it's just that we have not put ourselves out there. Even though Goa has the best conditions to train in, no one's really out there, and until someone's out there, no one else is going to ask what's that and keep going. And I really look forward to seeing more people in this sport because it's an amazing sport, and once you start, it's addicting. Like, it's some next level stuff.
I can sense that by the way you have been speaking throughout this conversation. As a windsurfer yourself, what would you suggest that Goa as a state, as a community, or the Goan government can do for the sports?
I would really sincerely ask the government to facilitate the equipment for this sport, because it's a very niche sport, and it also requires lots of financial investment, and unless young athletes have the chance to use the equipment and try it out, no one's going to get interested in the sport. So I would really ask the government, the sports authority, sports association to develop on their equipment, run camps, get good coaches, because Goa doesn't have the great coaches, meaning they do have coaches but they're not into full-time coaching. So I would really like to have good coaches and see better facility. I would also ask the association to fund the sport, because it's a really expensive sport, and to move forward you need the investment in it.
Urvi, looking ahead, what excites you the most about your future goals, nationals, internationals? What do we have coming?
Okay, so now next, I was currently participating in the raceboard category. Now I plan on moving to the IQ foil, because that is actually a class which I can compete at an international level. But there's a challenge about the equipment. It's quite expensive, and I'm looking for somebody to sponsor me and get the facilities either from the state government or if someone's interested. But it's a quite thrilling sport. It's something new, and I'm very keen on learning it and competing in the IQ foil category, because that is the future of windsurfing as such, and that is what is in the Olympics and the Asian Games. So that is what will take me to the next level of competing.
Looks like we'll have a lot more opportunities to have you here again, looking at your goals. So now we are approaching to the end of this conversation, but it was really, really interesting to speak to you and to know about your very peculiar approach towards not only winning but living the sport. What message would you leave for our Goan young athletes?
Firstly, I would like to say, keep exploring and find what you love. Don't settle for anything less. Find your thing, and don't just panic and go into it. Every day is a learning process. Go with the learning approach instead of the winning approach. Enjoy your life. And secondly, your dreams are possible, so make them possible. Keep dreaming higher and higher, more and more, because the world is limitless. How would it know what you want if you don't keep asking for it for more and more?
Urvi, you have been really aspirational. The way you speak, the way you have conducted yourself throughout your sports career, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors, and I really hope that the sport deserves and gets the support that it deserves from us as Goans. Thank you.
Thank you.